Greetings, y'all. Last video for today thus far. I want to talk about the Border Patrol. As you all know, Border Patrol has entered the city of Charlotte, North Carolina. They call this project Charlotte's Web, based on the children's book. Everybody had to listen to this book when we were children. I think I heard about Charlotte's Web like in the first or second or third grade. I can't remember. But anyway, Charlotte's Web is underway. Border Patrol is here, and they have arrested 81 detainees. They said that this is the most in history thus far. They shut down the Supermart, which is the Supermart is like one of those ethnic food stores for like the Hispanic and Latinos. A lot of the Hispanic employees were very scared and fearful. They ran through the parking lots. They ran out of the back of the store, and some of the employees in high school were hiding in the bathroom when the Border Patrol agents, came into the building and onto the premises. Now, yesterday, let me tell you what happened during recess, you all. Because I substitute taught first grade, one of the staff members said, you'll notice that quite a few of them are not here today because of what's going on. Well, what was going on is the Border Patrol. So 5 children were missing out of 19 children yesterday. Okay. And those children are predominantly Hispanic that were missing from class. And that is why. While we were out at recess, one of the teachers told us to bring the babies in. So I had to call all of them back into the classroom immediately because an SUV had pulled up in the bus parking lot. So I saw the SUV, didn't know who they were, brought them in, just explained to them that we had to protect them because we saw a strange vehicle outside and we got to make sure that they're safe. Don't you know, one of the melanated boys spoke out and said, did Trump send ISIS back out again? I said, what? So apparently he's very aware of news that's going on, and he knows about politics, y'all. I thought that was just so funny. I didn't really answer the question. My ears were shocked and surprised. But this boy is very intelligent, you all. So we had a very interesting conversation in the classroom setting yesterday with him. Even though he's very talkative, he has a lot of energy, a lot of vibrant personalities in that classroom yesterday. These melanated boys are like little mathematicians, y'all. But yes, there was one Hispanic boy that was there and another Hispanic girl. But for the most part, we deal with a lot of Hispanic children. And like I said, they were coming in, being enrolled in the middle of the school year, even as late as May. And a lot of times schools would not allow that. But from my understanding, they were saying that they were allowing this to happen. No questions were asked. They could come in, enroll their children in school. No questions were asked about their legal status. Okay. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure some of them may have come in illegally. I don't know. They're coming in from South America, you all. Ecuador, El Salvador, Venezuela, Argentina, all over. Cuba, Mexico, like all of those countries, even Honduras. And, they'll tell me where they were from. And, it's just very interesting that when Biden weakened the borders, they allowed a surge of illegals to come over here. With that being said, you all, it seems like the Border Patrol has actually entered into Myers Park. For those of you who do not understand the prestige of Myers Park, this is a highly affluent area. So millionaires live in Myers Park. Okay, it's a country club area. The Border Patrol storms Myers Park Country Club and attempts to detain, you all, I don't know if you could see this, an employee. I'm trying to let you see. This is what happened, okay? Now it says the U.S. Border Patrol officials entered the Myers Park Country Club on Monday without prior permission. The club's interim general manager said in a release to members. This morning, agents from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol called the CBP entered the club's private grounds without prior notice, warrant, or permission and briefly detained one of our employees, said Adam Gartside, Myers Park Country Club's interim general manager. The individual was released shortly thereafter as they possessed all required and valid documentation. We are relieved that they are safe and are providing them with our full support. So if I were you and I entered this country legally and I felt like they're targeting certain individuals that are of Hispanic or Latino descent, I would keep my documentation on me and I would make copies of it. I would have several copies of it. That's just what I would do. I was talking to a guy from Liberia yesterday. That's West Africa. And he has been here since he was 3 years of age. And he said, what am I supposed to do? Keep documentation on me at all times? I said, I would. And he was like, but I've been here since I was 3. So I looked at him. I said, you might not quite have that issue because listening to his dialect, he sounds like an American speaker, but you can see African features in him. So I think that this whole Border Patrol thing is putting a lot of people in an anxious state, in a very paranoid state. I heard a lot of Hispanic businesses shut down over the weekend. All throughout Charlotte, they're losing business because people are scared to come out. They're probably in hiding. They're trying to keep a low profile. All on the neighborhood app, they're telling where these agents are being sighted. There are drones that have been flying overhead, you all. So keep in mind, they're using drones. And people have been out with whistles, blowing whistles because they're out like patrolling neighborhoods. And I guess this is the way of them alerting other individuals that Border Patrol is coming, y'all. So I'm just talking about the information, y'all. Do as you wish with this information. But they're definitely in Charlotte. He added that the club is seeking legal counsel to determine next steps and to ensure the privacy, security, and well-being of our employees and members. The appearance of CBP at the club comes after masked Border Patrol agents descended on Charlotte on Saturday morning, arrested more than 130 individuals between Saturday and Sunday. The surge has been decried by North Carolina Governor Josh Stein, who said on Sunday night that the agents are racially profiling and stoking fear in Charlotte. Now, here's the issue that I take with this, and I'm going to say this, and I don't care who gets offended, because what was the racial profiling when you allowed that guy to have a seizure on the street after he had been shot down by police back in 2016? Do y'all remember that? Do you remember the fact that the guy was sitting in his car reading a book and he had either some type of autism or he had some type of issue, right? Intellectual issue that was going on. And they were giving him commands. And because of his, situation, his mental issue, they ended up shooting and killing that guy. Where was the outcry and the outrage from the senator, from the mayor, from the governor? You see how it works differently when you are an immigrant, but when you're an indigenous Native American, which I like to classify as blacks or African American, even though we don't come from Africa because we were already here, you fail to realize that the European man, which is the white man, which is the Caucasian, aka Caucasoids, came over here. And basically, they're doing the same thing that you're accusing the Hispanics of doing. They invaded this country, claim that they discovered it, but they didn't. Okay? Native Americans were already living here, and they conquered by way of force, by way of raping, by way of pillaging, by way of lying, by way of just blatant murder. And you all are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving in a few days. And y'all don't understand that you're celebrating the slaughtering of your ancestors on this very land. Because don't you know they beheaded the Native Americans? Do you not understand that they were feasting to that? This is how Thanksgiving came into play. They were feasting. When they talk about the Indians, the Native Americans, and the Pilgrims, they paint the Pilgrims as though they are some type of religious people that were honoring something in a religious practice. No, they have twisted your history. And if you don't wake up and understand the history behind this country, you are partaking in a ritualistic practice. And do you think your ancestors are resting in peace over this? When you partake in the white man's pagan holidays for the massacre of your ancestors, their blood which runs through your veins, that is an atrocity. And that is definitely, it's embarrassing that people continue to still practice these holidays, y'all. Stop it. Because when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And I'm pretty sure all the churches, all these quote unquote Christian churches, which we know Christianity came from the European again, right? I'm pretty sure that all of these Christian churches are not going to tell you the truth about Thanksgiving either. So be real careful with these so-called pastors, bishops, pulpit pimping preachers, okay? They're out for your money. And I know I've digressed into a different conversation, but the truth has to be told. And if you're a hit dog hollering in the comment section, you're not going to like my response, because when the truth is presented before you, you're supposed to do better, not get hypersensitive and try to defend the nonsense, okay? Y'all, this has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I am your melanated queen. Continue to walk in your divinity. Knowledge is power, okay? Knowledge is definitely power. When you know better, you should do better. And anyway, I'm going to say celebrate yourself. Shout out to all the ultimate warriors, my melanated people. Y'all are spiritual warriors, okay? You go through so much and you are so highly ignored. You're the least protected, the most neglected, and everybody in this country, on this globe, in this nation feels that it's okay to erase your history, ignore your history. So it is up to you to do your due diligence to make sure the youth understands the truth and this brutalized truth full of lies that they teach in the history, all right, in the history classes, because they're still teaching these children a bunch of lies about pilgrims, about Indians, about all of this stuff when it comes to Thanksgiving, and it is ugliness, all right? And it has to stop. All right, y'all, I'm going to sign out. Continue to walk in your divinity. You all stay blessed until next time. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up.